If you're looking to make music that stands the test of time, Simon Green is your
My
blueprint.
name's Simon Green and I make music as Bonobo.
Over the years, I've been deeply influenced and inspired by Bonobo's creativity. So in today's video, I'm not just breaking down one, not two, three styles of Simon's music evolution. Make sure you stick around till the end of this episode to grab the free sample pack from today's episode. His music isn't just a sound, it's an experience. From his early days of down-tempo trip-hop to the generational bangers of today, Simon Green's music has evolution on lock. Yo, what's good? I'm Anglo. Welcome to Flavour Sessions, a show where we mix music, synth, and get inspired by legends. So grab your meals, beverages, or whatever it is that you're into, and let's get nerdy. Today we're diving into the timeless artistry of Bonobo's sound. He's a master at blending acoustic, organic, and electronic sounds. In today's video, I'm breaking down his music, the ethos behind it,
Spend like 4 hours on hi-hat quite easily without anyone sort of going, you need to move on, do something else.
how it can inspire your own creativity. Before we dive into today's episode, I just want to take a moment to give a huge shout out to everyone who's commented and has been supporting me by downloading the free sample packs. You truly are the real MVPs. I really appreciate it. And now, just like these comments, if you want to be featured in one of my next videos, drop something in the comments or just grab one of my free sample packs from the link below. Simon Green, better known as Bonobo, is a UK-born LA-based producer, DJ, and musician. He slid into the electronic music scene in 2000 with his album Animal Magic. Rooted deep in trip-hop, but he has since transcended the genres, blending electronic production with jazz, world music, and live instrumentation. Simon's discography is a journey. From 2000, his project titled Animal Magic leaned heavily into trip-hop. 10 Days to Come in 2006, where he added vocalists, giving his music this new vibrancy. By 2010s, with his project Black Sands, he had mastered live instrumentation, evolving into lush soundscapes. And Migration of 2017 was inspired by his lifestyle on the road, performing across continents.
The only way to do it is to delegate all the parts and have a band come and play.
And his project Fragments in 2022, I'm so grateful I was able to catch a glimpse of. In Simon's discography, it marked a mature exploration of collaboration and sound design. Simon stated that he could spend 4 hours on a hi-hat if someone didn't stop him. It's this obsessive attention to detail that defines his sound: rich, layered, and emotionally driven. And there's something really cool he said about trusting the musicians that he actually works and collabs with.
If you can trust someone's taste, that any embellishments that they do are going to be, you don't have to sort of say you need to play this in this style because this is what we're trying to do. You need to just be able to sort of trust people. They know exactly what we're about. And
he believes that working with the imperfections and embellishments breathes life into his tracks. This philosophy is shared by artists like Olafur Arnalds, who also embraces mistakes as part of the creative process. I've already done a video on Olafur. If you haven't already checked it out, you can probably watch it after this one. Simon's music is all about layers. From delicate melodies to rich textures, every element is crafted with intent. Tracks all the way from Kiara to Expander show his evolution from jazzy downtempo to sound design-driven masterpieces like Expander. He started as a DJ sampling old records. Today he prefers to record his own sounds, layering loops and using different sorts of foley to create organic textures. Whether it's Ethiopian jazz influences or collaborations with vocalists like Andrea Triana or Erica Badu, Simon's sound is as diverse as his music taste.
like Ethiopics compilations that sort of Ethiopian kind of jazz, sort of psychedelic kind of players. But yeah, this guy.
One thing that sets Simon apart is his live performances. What started out as DJ sets in small clubs has now evolved into full band experiences. With musicians on string, keys, drums, percussions, horns, his live shows are a reimagination of his studio recordings. He also stated once that his audience might expect a certain vibe from his show, but trust me, when you go there, you're gonna leave surprised.
But
for me, I wanted to move on and do something else and start sort of using microphones and real instruments and still keeping that sort of production aesthetic of treating them like they were samples.
His influences all the way from hip hop to jazz to Ethiopian grooves and also Sixto Rodriguez. Shout out. His music is a melting pot of ideas. Let me be your plug. If you haven't heard Sixto Rodriguez, I highly recommend. Those who know. With over 25 years in the game, Grammy nominations, and a constantly evolving sound, Simon is proof that great music stands the test of time. He has this innate ability to blend the old with the new, the live with the electronic, and I think that's absolutely unmatched in the game. He has to be the GOAT. Everybody spam Simon the GOAT. Simon the GOAT, bro, what? Yeah. Spam Simon the GOAT in the comments, son. As he puts it, he's just making tunes, but those tunes have absolutely inspired a generation. So now let's really get into the meat of today's episode. Let's dive into making some tracks inspired by Simon Green, aka Bonobo. So this is going to be a fun episode because we're not just doing one. We're breaking down 3 tracks that I've created. So I want you to sit back, relax, and just soak this in. How I've drawn from his techniques and ethos to craft these pieces. And I'm pretty sure this is going to inspire some sort of creativity for your tracks as well. Now, first up, Aubade. Just a side note, these 2 tracks are already out on Spotify, so they aren't really in the sample pack. The 3rd track is, so stick around till the end. Now, Aubade. This track leans heavily on Rhodes pianos and acoustic drums, classical elements of Simon's earlier music. Something more organic and more sample-driven. To recreate an old-school Bonobo-inspired track, I started with some percussions. Sampling is a great way to start, but recording your own adds this personal touch. But if you're just starting out, I think using loops is just absolutely fine. I applied some reverb and then some EQ to cut out the lows, giving some space for the other elements in the track. And next, I layered in a kick drum and some additional percussions. Consider using some hi-hats playing contrasting rhythms. This sort of establishes a dynamic groove, and you're not really stuck with something that sounds pretty much in the same pocket, if you will. For the bass line, I used an upright bass with sidechain compression using the Kickstart plugin. So this just gives it that characteristic pump. On the harmonic side, I incorporated some Rhodes keys with EQ adjustments to fit in the mix. I used Analog's Rhodes here, just if you're curious. So the key here was to use multiple Rhodes parts, including a lead line. This added some depth and variation to the track. Now, when you try to bring this arrangement to life, you can try introducing some other instruments such as saxophones, guitars, trying to echo Simon's ethos of collaborating with other musicians. So you can really go crate diving and look for samples and sounds that fit your track. Or you can write your own if you know how to play some instruments, which is why I suggest learn an instrument. When you try and do these samples, I'd leave some things on and off the grid, so that approach can sort of also embrace the organic imperfections that can make the track slightly more unique. Now, hey, if this video hits 50 likes, I'll invite my subscribers to send their musical ideas for me to remix and collaborate on one of the future videos. So if you want to see that happen, you know what you gotta do. You need to remember that you write variations in different sections. You make sure that you're switching up rhythms. Introduce ear candies like saxophones or synths and guitars, and make sure your layers always complement each other. Next track that I'm about to demo is also up on Spotify right now. This track is inspired by Expander. I started with the synth line from Analog Labs, accompanied by a garage-style breakbeat at 120 BPM. The pulsing kick sample for that steady drive, arpeggiated synths for a dynamic texture, a kick drum layered with emotional keys, and a drop topper, and some synth lines. A sharp melodic grungy synth line, heavily processed, and it gradually is revealed through this automation in the EQ. The automation is crucial here. I've automated the EQ to subtly open up the mix as the track progresses. I've also layered additional percussions and also included some modular elements with white noise for texture. Now use strings, horns, and other orchestral elements and layer them well to add richness. You'll hear a lot of that in Simon's music. Make sure when you're writing tracks in this style, each section of your track introduces new elements or modifies existing ones. At the core of his philosophy, it's all about intentions. Just make sure that each sound serves a purpose. I've layered modular perks and evolving noise textures to sustain interest and progression in the track. Just to see if I can write another track inspired in the style of Simon. And this track, all the sounds and samples I'm giving away as a free sample pack with today's episode. This final track applies techniques we've discussed from the previous track, and it comes with the presets and samples that you can download. With this track again, I started with organic percussions and added layers of sampled and recorded elements. Some reverb and EQ were essential for carving out space and shaping that mix, using cutoff knobs or fine-tuned reverb tails for that balance. The additional layers of claps, kicks, and acoustic breaks create a groove-rich foundation. Adding some textural field recordings like rain with automated EQ can give more dynamic movement to your percussions. This then gives Simon's music that underlying feeling of lived in. What the fuck does that even mean? Who's writing these scripts, son? I think these organic textures is what enhances that feeling that I think Simon has mastered. Use pads from Flex, so the free VST provided the track with the foundational texture, which then I layered with one of my most favorite instruments, the Rhodes, for that warmth and a sense of melody. Now the bassline came from GMS, which is again a free synth in FL. I created an analog feel, achieving that by adding a layer of noise using the 3x oscillator. I used some sidechain compression and applied that for some rhythmic breath. Fruity soft clipper ensured that the bass stayed punchy in the mix. I synthesized and used the 3x oscillator for a synth plug with some custom effects chain, automating the mod wheels for that evolving dynamic you hear in the track. These synth layers were EQ'd to avoid frequency clashes with other elements in the track. And I added some reverse guitar chops for that classic Bonobo touch. You can't forget vocal chops when you're for that ethereal vibe. And try and use some automations on that as well to add progressiveness throughout the track. Now the key to making timeless music like Simon is layering intentionally, arranging your track progressively, and maintaining balance. Every sound has its place and it contributes to the narrative of the entire song. They're not just loops. So think of your music as something that evolves constantly. If you enjoyed this episode and you want to show me your support by grabbing free shit, come on man, and hit that subscribe and like button. It's free. I'm trying to get to 4,000 watch hours. I'm going to be dropping these videos every other week. So stay tuned for more of these and go run these videos back. Go share it with your friends. Do whatever it takes. Let's get this to 4,000 hours. Yeah, come on. We've done some numbers. Now we got to take this to 4,000 hours. A lot of effort, guys. This is a lot. Trapped. I hope the sample pack or this video inspires you to make something cool. Don't sue me, Megamind. Until next time, random citizen, stay safe and stay creative. This was that. Until next time, random citizen, stay safe and stay creative. This was Anglo. Peace out.
When there's rain from the sky, you can't see my tears. high.